Dumble guitar amps. Is there any more sought after guitar amp out there in the world? The price tags that these Dumble amps are fetching are absolutely out of this world, really putting it out of the reach of most players. So some manufacturers have tried to create clones of those amps, and some pedal manufacturers have tried to capture that, let's call it an elusive tone, inside of pedals. Oftentimes you pay quite a bit of money even for those. Well, this one company called iSet has this little pedal. I don't know how well you can see that. They call it, in this little tiny package, the Dumbler. And I happened to just stumble across this, flipping through Amazon as one does, and it was $26.98 US, I believe. So I figured, why would I not buy it and try it? If it's garbage, well, I guess I'm out $27. And if it isn't, then I have a really cool little pedal that I can add for sessions, studio work for particular tones that maybe I want. So from what I can tell, this pedal is trying to be a Zen Drive pedal, essentially. It has all the same controls. You'll see we have volume, we have tone, we have voice, and we have gain. We have on-off. The manual tells me this is a true bypass pedal. So our tone control is going to allow us to get brighter or darker, as is our voice control. Essentially, it just voices that a little bit differently, but fully clockwise, it's going to be a brighter tone, a little bit darker. When we get down to the counterclockwise setting, volume is just simply going to be our output of the pedal, and gain is going to control how much overdrive distortion we get out of this pedal. It is built really solid, everybody. This is built like a tank. It's got some weight to it. The knobs actually feel very solid. They're slightly firm to turn, which is nice. They're not going to just flop around and our settings get moved. We have to put a little effort into it, but not so much that it's difficult to do. The controls feel good. The switch feels good. I'm actually very impressed with the build quality of this, and we're going to hear how this sounds in a couple various situations in just a moment. But I got to say, so far, just the build quality for the money, I'm pretty blown away by it. But I mean, the proof is going to be in how does this sound. So let's go give this a listen, and we'll see how it works. So here we are over in HX Edit, which is the editing software for the Line 6 Helix floor. And you might be wondering why I'm using this. Well, I decided to demo this using a very simple setup. This is a very inexpensive pedal. So the last thing I wanted to do was go, maybe plug it in through my Rev generator amp and cabinet, through this very expensive guitar amp, or plug it in through the Helix modeler and getting most of the tone from maybe one of the amp models in the Helix. I don't think that would really showcase the pedal. So what I decided to do is I'm going to use the Helix, but I'm going to use it as basically nothing other than an impulse response loader, a simple IR loader, so that what you're going to hear is I'm going from my guitar into the Dumbler pedal, which you can see over here on the other camera, straight into the Helix guitar input, but all I'm going into is an impulse response block. So we really could use any impulse response loader software or any software that we can feed it into an impulse response with. I'm using an impulse response of my Rev 212 cabinet that I recorded with an SM7B, the very SM7B I'm speaking into. And this is an impulse response library that I have available on my website and on the Line 6 Marketplace. And I'll put the links below to those. If you guys like what you hear, you can grab a copy of those. So I'm just feeding it into that. There's no low cuts or high cuts. So it's just basically the pedal into an impulse response. And then I added the slightest bit of room reverb at the end here from the Helix. Just, as we're recording direct guitars, we don't get any room ambience, and sometimes it sounds very dry. So it's very, very subtle. Mix of 40%, decay of 5, pre-delay of 11 milliseconds, and the low and high cut only on the reverb itself. So just to hear how that sounds. So let's do this now that we know what the setup is. Let's come over to our Dumbler pedal. I'm going to turn it off just so you can hear. And this is what my guitar sounds like, just basically plugged straight into this impulse response. So nothing special going on there. Now, what happens if we engage the Dumbler? And as I already spoke about, we have the different controls. We have our gain control, we have our volume, our voice, and our tone control. So everything is simply right up at 12 o'clock right now, halfway up on the gain, halfway up on the volume, the voice, and the tone. And let's hear what it sounds like going into this particular impulse response. I'm really digging the tones from this. Keep in mind, this is a $27 pedal. I think it's $26.98 when you order it off of Amazon. Okay, well, let's see what some of the controls do on it. So let's bring that gain down. I apologize if my fingers get in the way, but hopefully it's clear enough. It's kind of hard to get a camera angle on the pedal itself that it's going to be very clear. But this is with it off. So as we expect, there's just no signal. Let's bring that up to maybe 9 o'clock. Very impressed with this. Let's go back up to noon. We've already heard this setting. Let's keep going up. And we'll crank the gain up on that. Okay, so we hear the gain quality. I think it's really, really nice. Now, what happens if we come in? I'm not going to touch the volume control. All that's going to do is boost the output volume. So it's not going to really have any effect on the tone. I'm going to grab our voice switch. Let's go all the way down with it. All the way up. So, as would probably be expected, all the way counterclockwise here, it's going to be a darker tone. All the way clockwise, much brighter. All usable range, though. I don't know if I would go that extreme. Maybe a little bit above noon. Very nice stuff. Let's go back to noon with that. And let's take a listen to what our tone control does. We'll go all the way down with that. We'll go to the other extreme all the way up. I don't know if I like it either of those at that super extreme setting, but if we went up with the tone just a little bit, maybe up with the voice just a little bit. some incredibly usable tones and very Dumble-esque. I mean, I've never played through a real Dumble, but the Dumble tone that we recognize from recording examples of them and other amp companies that are making kind of Dumble clones, this is really coming close to exactly what I would expect from it. And the tone control, voice control are very useful. You know, I'm wondering if we went up with something like cranking the voice control up while bringing the tone control way back. And then maybe peeling the gain back. Maybe do the opposite. Bring our tone up and bring our voice way back. Really nice stuff. Bring that gain back a bit more. So the controls are very, very useful. The build quality on the pedal is quite nice. Those knobs, I mean, at this price point, I wouldn't really expect much, but they're actually quite solid feeling. And the pedal feels like it actually is quite solidly built and wouldn't be too fragile to use. Now, you might also be wondering what it would sound like if it was used in front of, let's say, an amp model in the Helix. So what I've pulled up here is the Line 6 Litigator amp model into a 212 interstate cab with a 160 ribbon mic, 2.5 inches back with the normal sort of low and high cuts baked in. So if I turn the Dumbler off, this is the tone we would hear out of that Litigator amp. Now, if we add the Dumbler back in, back with all of the settings back around noon, we would have this. So you can see a lot of really nice tones in this. I am extremely impressed with this pedal. Much more so than I expected to be when I just kind of stumbled upon it on the internet and decided to pull the trigger on it and spend my 27 bucks and see what I got. So what do you guys think? I'm very impressed with this pedal. Like I said, the build quality is not terrible on it. The manual tells us we get true bypass. The build quality is nice. The knobs, I mean, while they're not going to be super, super high end at that price point, it does seem like it's built well enough to withstand what we would put it through if it was just tucked away on a nice little pedal board. Very tiny, take up no space. I almost see no reason to not have this, on the front end of any guitar rig that we would use for live or in the studio. And there's some really great tones, and the controls work really nicely as far as what they're supposed to do, giving us a wide array of different tones by using our voice and our tone gain knob. Some really nice stuff. So anyways, I'm going to have a link below to where you can order this through Amazon. Please click through that. if you want to grab one. It's a very inexpensive pedal, but very impressive. I'm very, very, very happily surprised by the tones that we're getting out of this. And I hope you guys liked it. If you liked the sound of that impulse response I had in here, you can go to my website at the link below, or to the Line 6 Marketplace and grab yourself a copy of that as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed that. And I will be back soon with a lot more content. Please like the video, share it with anybody who you think would get some use out of watching it, and subscribe to the channel and hit the little bell notification, get notified when I put new content out. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Ciao for now.